I'm incredibly excited to be joined by Kit Young from Netflix's Shadow and Bone. Kit, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today ahead
No,
of
thank
your
you.
FAN EXPO appearance. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I not only have I not been to Fan Expo before, I've never been to Canada before. So I'm
Oh,
really, really excited. So I'm gonna get to see a bit of Toronto and also come to this really cool event and meet some people. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
well, Toronto's great and the people here are great, so I'm sure you'll have an amazing time.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
I'm very excited that we're also going to be discussing one of my favorite fictional characters and probably one of the coolest crows, Jesper, today.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what the experience has been like with Shadow and Bone and witnessing how passionate the fans of the book series have been about getting this adaptation right, and then seeing
Yeah.
how overwhelmingly positive they've been about your portrayal of Jasper.
Oh my gosh, it's been a crazy ride. I mean, so when I auditioned for the role, I was clearly I've been living under a rock because I wasn't really very familiar with the source material. And then I quickly clued myself in when I was auditioning and I was like, oh, this is a big deal. And then when I got the role is when I read them because I didn't want to read them, fall in love with it, get heartbroken, not get the job, quite selfishly. But when I got the job, I read all the books. I read, I think, 5 books in 2 weeks, which is probably the fastest I've ever read because wasn't very long before I got the role and then I was starting. And then we got announced, the 6 of us that are all in all 8 episodes, and the fan reaction, sorry, was mixed to say the least, because these characters mean so much to people. And not a lot of people were very excited about me because they hadn't seen me in anything. There was no reference point to know if I'd be any good, or I just wasn't the image that they had in their head because people create such vivid images because these characters are so important to people. And then once the press stuff started to go, people were getting excited. Then when the show dropped, it was overwhelmingly positive, and I couldn't be happier. I was just glad people watched it, let alone liked it. And I'm so glad that the book fans have kind of they've been with us throughout our entire process, through the big pre-production through to today. And so it's really, really great to now have that contact and be able to actually talk about it with them and not have to keep all of the secrets all of the time. I've got to be quiet about future stuff, but at least we can talk season one, which is great.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some stuff that's coming up now with season two, but season
Mm.
one was so great. Yeah,
Oh,
there's so
I'm
much to
so glad
talk
that you
about
think
there.
so. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and my favorite part was particularly Jesper's skill set with his sharpshooting. So I have to
Yeah.
ask, because he's a master gunslinger and you documented the hours of training that went into learning how to wield those revolvers, for you, what was
Mm.
the most daunting part of this skill to learn for this on-screen portrayal?
I think the most daunting aspect about it is getting it right. Like you can learn a skill and become quite good at it, but it's very specific to get it right full camera in a way that makes it Jesper, as opposed to any other cowboy basically, or a spy, anyone else who handles a gun. And we have so much of that in all of our screen media. So to make it unique to this world and something that resembles the character in the books, that was the tricky element. And I think the thing about it was just really just keep going, because the guns for Jesper are kind of an extension of his hands and arms. It's just part of who he is, and the spinning and the way that he uses them have to be so symbiotic with how he is as a person. And so I think I just had to put the hours in, and then I think it was when I was on set and people were like, "Are you just casually spinning around a weapon while you're having a coffee?" Like offset. And I was like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot that I had it. It's obviously not a loaded gun, but it's been this custom made artifact basically. And I was just kind of casually, and I was like, oh, I think I've got there. I think this is what Jesper would do. So yeah, it was a lot of hard work, but now, even now, I have them wherever I go. So I'm that person who I'm on the phone to my mum and I'm just spinning guns while I'm on the phone. It's very annoying.
Have you been practicing for the new season? Is it something you have to keep up constantly just to kind of have that
I
skill ready?
I haven't been told to keep it up, but I just did, in the hopes that a season two would happen. When I didn't know that it was happening, I was like, if I do this, I'll be ready.
Right.
But also it's actually incredibly addictive. It's almost just like having something like a something to fidget with, and kind of play with. So I've kept it up, and I'm sure I'll have to go through a bit of training to get back up to standard. Because also, you want season 2 to be bigger and better. So I want to up my own game, and I want Jesper to get better and better and better as it all goes on. So I will continue to work hard, but I'm really glad that I'm not starting from scratch anymore.
What aspect from the books are you most excited to delve into with Jesper's character in future seasons?
I mean, we haven't actually started the books that he's in, so all of those. But there's a particular scene that, I mean, Lee has since written books since she said this, but at the time when she said this, she said her favorite scene to write is in Cricket Kingdom, and it's a fight between Kaz and Jesper, and their kind of relationship comes to a particularly crucial moment. And I know that Freddie and I would be very excited to go there because it's so different from how we are as people. We would never ever throw blows at one another. So to kind of do that, it'd be really exciting, and a very deep point for the characters. So yeah, I'd be excited to do that.
So I feel like we can't talk about Jesper without talking about Milo the goat.
Of course.
Of course. So exactly how difficult of a scene partner was the goat to hold for emotional support in such a packed compartment like that?
So strangely enough, incredibly hard, because the goat, or goats, there were two. One of them was the screamer and one of them was the pooper. And so that would take some time to get that working. But also, the goat doesn't really know what's going on. So we're in this like small compartment, and there's real fire because it's a train. So when I start getting guns out, the goat is going to freak out. There's that shot that's kind of been made into a meme, and is now kind of been, there's a lot of fan art where I'm properly hugging the goat, panicking. And that shot is as long as that could happen, because a split second later, the goat headbutted me into a wall. And so I'm glad that we got it. But the goat probably is unaware, I would think, of what an icon Milo now is. But the scene where I say goodbye to the goat and put the bullet around its neck was actually very, very tender in reality, and the goat did everything we needed it to, and it was actually really sweet. It was just all the crisis stuff was understandably quite distressing.
Well, at least you got that moment at the end to kind of wrap
Yeah,
everything up,
exactly.
So from the School for Good and Evil to the beautiful game, it sounds like there's a ton of
Hmm.
exciting projects on the horizon for you. Would you like to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what people can expect from these upcoming projects?
Yeah, so the first one to come out actually probably will be a film called The Origin, which is a horror movie that will come out hopefully earlier next year. That's a prehistoric horror movie. It's about the first people to ever land in Britain. And that's very dark, very emotional, and is in a completely fictional, made up language. So that was kind of crazy to do. And then School for Good and Evil will probably be up next, and that's a kind of huge fantasy kind of fairy tale world, and I get to be the villain, which is great. I'm kind of the Voldemort of this world, which is lots of fun
Oh,
to go
okay.
full evil and be the most irredeemable person in the entire film. And that's cast is stacked. I mean, it's Paul Feig directing, and it's Charlie Theron and Kerry Washington and Lawrence Fishburne and Michelle Yeoh. I was losing my mind just being a part of it, and let alone being the antagonist. And then there's The Beautiful Game, which is a great kind of sport uplifting summer movie. It's about this real thing called the Homeless World Cup, where they take homeless people from all over the world and get them to compete in a football tournament annually in a different major city of the world. So this is about the England team going to Rome, and all of them have different backstories, and they're trying to win this football tournament. And so yeah, very different projects, which is great. And so there's a lot coming up, which I'm really excited for people to see.
Yeah, that all sounds really great. That'll be
Yeah,
exciting. And
yeah.
then I was going to touch a little bit on FAN EXPO Canada again. I
Hmm.
know you talked at the beginning about this being your first time in Canada and going to Toronto and
Yeah.
everything. I wondered, just with being able to connect with fans in person at events like this again, what aspect of fan conventions are you most looking forward to experiencing?
I mean, I kind of want to get a little bit of everything. I'm really excited to also potentially meet some of the other guests and be the annoying fan behind the curtain and just geek out about me watching their work, because I am a fan. So I'm really excited to kind of play both sides a little bit. But I really just want to, like, I don't know whether I'll have to wear a disguise or not. I might be all right. I might just get away with the COVID mask. But I want to kind of go and walk on the floors and just see what people are doing. The amazing stuff that the fans create, like people cosplaying and people kind of creating their own work. And I want to see some of the comic stuff. I want to meet some of the voice actors. I really want to see, you know, everything. And I think it's a really amazing thing that people are now able to do this in a live space, and we can all kind of like geek out together.
Because I'll circle back to Shadow and Bone. So,
Hmm.
because the series is exploring the crows before the events of their books, how
Hmm.
much fun do you get to have in terms of interpreting like Jesper and bringing this character to life, knowing there's kind of a gap between the Jesper we're seeing now and the Jesper we're seeing in Six of Crows?
Yeah, that was a particularly unique privilege that I think myself, Freddie, and Amita had in particular. Because you see what Danielle and Callahan are doing with Nina Matthias, and that is still, it's Six of Crows material because it's a flashback. Whereas what we were doing was completely new. And so we had the kind of unique privilege to like build these blocks, knowing where we're going. And I got the chance to kind of portray Jesper, who's a little bit younger, a little less streetwise, a bit more impulsive, less savvy, basically. And you know, it kind of went well with my experience because I didn't really know what I was stepping into. I was, you know, very fortunate in that I was working with lovely people who all want to make this cool thing, but I had no idea what I was doing. So that kind of went hand in hand with Jesper not really knowing what they're up to and what's going on, and I just got to be, you know, the kid who's wide-eyed looking at all this amazing stuff around me. Whereas, you know, moving forward, I now kind of know how it works, and so like Jesper, I can go in a little bit more streetwise and start to delve deeper because he's got a lot that he plays close to his chest. He keeps his cards close to his chest, and there's a lot of secrets that we're yet to explore.
So, from the Shadow and Bone universe, what
Hmm.
what is your favorite aspect of getting to go back into this universe again? You know, is it the setting? Is it the characters? Just the historical periods that are mixed together?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, arguably it's all of that. There was nothing quite like in season one walking onto the actual streets of Ketterdam for the first time. Surrounded, like it was there. Like none of that is CG. Like we poured in the rain and you had all those people in those amazing costumes. The sets were built. It was incredible. And Freddie, Amita, and I were just looking at each other like, are we in this? And so yeah, the characters are really what drive the plot for me though. The characters are just so brilliantly defined and well written by Lee Bardugo, and it by extension by Eric and our team of writers. They've nailed it. And so I'm so excited to do more of that and explore Ketterdam properly as well, because we're going back there. But really, if I'm completely honest, it's just working with those guys again. We had such a good time and everyone was brilliant and lovely. And like, you know, not a single bad egg. Everyone is fantastic at what they do and really lovely. And so I just want to go back and work with those guys and make some more magic.
Yeah, really exciting. I can't wait to see what you guys do in season 2 of Shadow and Bone. That's all my questions that I had for you. So it's been a
Thank you.
blast talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I hope you have
No
an
problem.
amazing time at Fan Expo this weekend.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to being there. Thank you so much. Bye bye.